Bounce Gang.
Back. We're live.
Hey everybody, welcome to Fresh Mondays podcast, episode number 60. We welcome you to another fresh episode of our podcast.
Yes, thank you everyone for all we're getting a lot of comments of how bright and fun the new colors are for everything. So I'm super excited. Thank you for everyone who reaches out. We're getting a lot of emails. A lot of guests are coming our way. Super fun episodes heading down the pipeline and on the podcast world. So shout out to everyone who's sending me those great comments on our opening beat, by the way, that little beat that you heard at the beginning. Shout outs to Double A.
Yes, Double A.
That beat, no, it's special. No one else owns it. No one else got it. It's ours. That's it.
Awesome. Yes. And thank you very much for everyone who's been listening thus far to this new season of our podcast. Thank you for listening to episode number 59, where we had Miss Lona Jean on it. And thank you for your tips, your tricks, your inspiration, and making sure to keep the world a healthier place. We appreciate those of you who inspire, who also motivate, and who teach people how to live healthier, long lives. That is part of what we represent here at Fresh Mondays podcast. So anyone else who's interested or recommend someone who you think brings value, please feel free to do so. As Marley mentioned, you guys have been emailing us. You guys have been DMing us. And that shows so much growth on our end. So thank you for supporting the podcast.
Yes. And soon enough, we'll have to weave out the ones who want to have on the show. It's pretty nice to see what people have to say and like their comments and kind of what they just really spark some interest. So our special guests will continue coming, and definitely excited what we have coming in the future. And yes, today's episode, if you want to tell us more about our guest today, Diana.
Yeah, we're so lucky to have a Miami native that's actually going to be on the podcast. And it's a little male energy because for the most part, we have a lot of female energy on our podcast. So we appreciate when we have the male energy translating into the conversation. He is a keynote speaker, an author, an educator, and also a 2015 BET Insta Star, which is pretty cool. So from those of you who watch the BET Awards and things like that, he was actually featured. So that's pretty awesome. We're going to learn a little bit about him. And also we're going to have a great conversation about, you know, what he's working on, what he's moving into, and also learning from a person who's able to make a business out of themselves. Oh my God, everybody. Welcome JR Rivera to the podcast. Tell everybody who you are and what you do.
Hi, everyone. I'm JR Rivera. I'm a motivational speaker, an author, and also an educator. And I love to inspire people. I use my social media and other outlets to just uplift others and just always try and be a light in some of the dark world.
I love that. A light in some of the dark world. That's a sticker worthy kind of bumper sticker. Put it on my laptop, like background. I love that. That's beautiful.
Super positive. We appreciate it. So tell us, when did you start this positive lifestyle? When did you decide, hey, I'm going to use my energy to promote it to the world and to give people something positive?
I think the lifestyle has always been there. As a young kid, about 4 years old, I had a situation where, adversity knocked on my front door, literally. My father was arrested for selling drugs and went to prison for a total of 17 years. And I would say that was kind of the dark, that I had to become the light early on in my own life so that I could see my own path. So I began to just try and do stuff differently. And from an early age, I was always just optimistic about my situations, and I never wanted to be a victim of my circumstances. So I just decided to put on, a smile and just try and go that extra mile and outwork my situation. So as I got older, I was still playing football. I played professional indoor football. I also played collegiately, and chasing the NFL dreams and just trying to be a positive role model for young kids. I think it always was a goal of mine to be that person that someone could look up to and say, if he could do it, then I could do it. So that's always been my motto. If I can do it, anybody can do it. And then being able to be an educator later on in my career, being in front of students on a continuous basis and them not really getting to see a Black male role model. And some of them, I was the first Black teacher that they ever had. Just being positive and letting them see that we're not just entertainers. We're not just people that, rob and steal and do all these crazy things, but we're also the light of this world. So, I just wanted to be a part of that.
I think
Right. That's awesome.
that's super awesome. That's beautiful. One of the things that you've mentioned, or that I've read in your bios and such, you were part of a BET Insta Star. Tell us about that. How did that become a part of your life?
Right. How does one become a BT? It's
Right.
the star.
I'm I'm not really sure if they're still doing those contests, to be totally honest. But in 2015, I was actually starting my journey as a motivational speaker, and I just decided that I was gonna post only motivational stuff on my Instagram, and it was mainly for my students because they came to me and they're like, "Mr. Rivera, man, how are we gonna get that motivation?" Because I always gave my students like a little pep talk before the day started. I never jumped straight into a lesson. I always thought that you have to give someone a reason to go into a lesson. So I always tried to attack their hearts and then teach their minds. So with that thought process, I was like, well, I'm only gonna post motivational stuff, and I'm gonna post it when kids are getting up for school. So I did that for a consistent 2.5 years straight, Monday through Sunday, every single day. I posted motivational videos, and I got kind of good at it. And I ended up hearing about this BET contest, literally being in the other room, not even watching TV. And it's like, do you post motivational stuff? Hashtag BET Insta Star. You could be the next BET Insta Star. I didn't even look at the rules or any of that stuff. And I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna give it a try. So the next video that I posted, I hashtag, the BET Insta Star. Then I did that about 3 or 4 times. And my students started asking me, why am I doing that? And I told them, the gist of the actual contest. And that's when I actually looked it up. And good thing it said only one person could be in the video, which had to be the person who was trying to be the Insta Star, which that's how I made all my videos. And the students got involved, so they started reposting and tagging people and doing all this stuff. And lo and behold, about a weekend, BET sends me a DM, and I'm like, "Is this the real BET?"
Right.
So,
Right. Like them accounts that'd be like Trey Songz. I'm like, Trey Songz is not hitting me up. You know what I'm saying?
right.
Yeah.
So I open the DM and I go to the page, and it's the real BET, and they're telling me that I'm in the top 5, and I need to send them certain information. And I shared it with my students, and I told them, I said, with anything in life, you can't be satisfied with coming in the top 5. Like, if you get that close, you might as well take everything. You might as well win. So with that mentality, I kind of reached back to all of my students that I had taught from the past, like 4 or 5 years prior to that. And they were at 3 or 4 different schools. I had teammates from different teams that I played on. I just reached back through all of my resources, and everybody got involved. Luckily I had left positive imprints on other individuals, and by getting that network going, it just really blew it out the water. And the crazy thing is, I was winning by so much that they reset the votes, and I almost gave up. Like, I was like, this is crazy, like they don't want me to win type thing. And I had a son on the way, and we were like at a Lamaze class or whatever doing the breathing stuff, and I'm like, man, I can't quit. So I end up asking the people in there if they had an Instagram or Twitter, made them vote all in there. And I almost gave up, but I just said, you know what, I can't just let this go because there's too many people counting on me. So then I went to church, which was like the next day. That must have been a Saturday. The next day was church. And they end up asking me to come up and give like a testimony about like tithes and offerings. So I come up there, and then the pastor, he was like, he knew what I was doing because they followed me on social media, and he was like, are you going to tell them about, the contest that you're doing? I was like, I don't really know if this is the place. Is that all right? Because I go to a really big church. So it was funny because everybody thought it was cool, and they really liked that, I was using that platform to inspire and do it the right way. And they knew that I even talked about God on there and just tried to, empower young people before they go into the school. So I had old women, old men, everybody like, how do I make that Instagram thing? How do I do the Twitter? And we got everybody involved. So it was a really big group effort, all the way from Miami to Fort Lauderdale, Boca, where I went to school at FAU, all the way in. I stayed in Tampa for a little bit growing up, Fort Myers, like really the whole Florida was really supporting me, and that went a long way. So I ended up winning that, and they flew me out, and I ended up, doing the red carpet and being interviewed, and it was really, really cool event. I was able to bring my mother because my wife at the time, she was going through, the pregnancy, so she was too far along to come. But it was exciting. I had a great time. They paid me, and I got to present the Viewers Choice Award to Nicki Minaj. I was with Zendaya as co-presented it,
That's cool.
and it was really cool. Just a really cool affair. But when I got on the plane, I just asked myself, like, what's really gonna change? Like, that was cool, but what's gonna change in your life? And that's when I made a decision. Like, had I had a book, then I probably wouldn't have to go back to a regular 9-to-5 type job. So that got me to writing, and that's when I wrote my first book.
I love how you've mentioned that your past imprints that you've left behind to other students really gave you that opportunity to kind of connect back with them, to get them to help you with the voting, and kind of bring you to that platform in the forefront. And then as well as using that motivation, those networks and things like that, do you imply that? And because you've mentioned your book, do you plug that? Tell us more about the book. Do you mention that? Do you plug those into the book of like building those relationships and leaving those impacts on others?
Absolutely. There's actually a chapter in there about actually stewarding your time. And it's about actually using your time, because my book is a self-help book on time management. So it's called What's Eating Up Your Time, basically helping people figure out where their day is being eaten up, because whether you're a bum or a billionaire, you only get 24 hours. I don't care if you're Beyonce or the guy under the bridge, you get 24. So with that thought process, I was thinking about all of the times that I stewarded my time into people that couldn't pay me back. So I have a chapter dedicated to that and showing people how to use that time, because a lot of people, they give money, but that's not really a resource that, you really feel it, because your time, you got to be all there mentally, physically, and emotionally. And sometimes it's even with the money. So there's a chapter on that, and I kind of touch on it.
That's awesome. I think that the power of writing a book is really a great way to create a legacy as well. So if you are creating such an impact in your community and you're providing inspiration to so many people in the young generation, I think that you're doing an amazing thing by creating a book and creating some type of a guide of how you can be progressive and how to use your time wisely. So we really do commend you for that. And we think it's awesome. How do people get it? Is it available online? Like, how do people purchase the book?
It's available on Amazon. It's also available on Create Sprays. There's a digital copy as well on Kindle. And I also have the information on my Instagram page as well, which is JR Rivera. It's _ JR Rivera on Instagram.
And
Awesome.
what's next for you other than the book? What is your continuation of what do you have going on? Just to let all the listeners know.
Right now, I'm actually creating an online resource for young people that are struggling with math. I kind of mastered being able to have high engagement with inner city kids and just helping them understand the value of math. So I'm creating a platform for them. I also see myself having my own school in the near future. And I'm also on tour, pretty much speaking here and there and everywhere. So those are the things that I'm doing. And also just being an awesome father is, my main goal.
Yeah, I actually noticed that through your Instagram, you are a very active dad. Your kids come up very often on your Instagram. So that's pretty awesome. It's really nice to see a young father that's proactively involved in his children's life. It's really admirable.
I appreciate that. Yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
they're probably mad at me because right now I had to step away. Yeah,
We're taking daddy time. We're so sorry.
Yeah, it's usually, books before bed. That's what I like to do.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, we do appreciate you taking time of your busy schedule. I know you have a million things going on at once, and you're pretty much building a great legacy for your future and for the future generations to support you. Clearly, the community in Florida supports you and loves you, so that's really awesome because, Florida has a tendency of not supporting our own. So that goes to show that you have a standout ability. So that's really awesome. Now, if a person wanted to reach out to you, book you, maybe have you speak, maybe share your story, how do people get in contact with you?
The main way is through my email, and my personal assistant usually checks that. It will be JR83 Rivera at yahoo.com, or they could just go on Instagram and the email is on there as well. That is @_ JR Rivera, or you can just type in JR Rivera. I'll show up. So any of those ways, I'm usually able to be contacted. I'm also on Facebook, JR Rivera. I'm on Twitter, JR Rivera. So everywhere I try to use my name, I learned my lesson by putting other stuff. So I just use my name. It's easy to
Very
find.
cool. Very cool. So you guys heard it here first. If you have never heard of Mr. JR Rivera, you heard about him here on Fresh Mondays podcast. If you could please give all of our listeners an inspirational takeaway, what would you say to everyone today?
I would say, just do your best to try and live a full life and die on E. Like, give it everything you got every single day, because you just don't know when it's your last. That way, when it is your last, you lived it like your last.
Love it.
Love
we
it.
appreciate it.
Thank you
so
for your
much.
time.
And thank you for
My
being
pleasure.
an educator. Thank you for being a Black educator. Thank you for being a male role model. You guys do not get paid enough for what you do. You do not get the recognition you deserve. Teachers are part of what's paving the future. So thank you for teaching the next generation. We appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thanks.
Thanks.
You. Have a good night.
Bye.
All right.
Wow, that was such an awesome conversation. I know that he had to go pretty quick, but I feel like he told us a lot of great things in that short time he was with us.
When you know someone's a motivational speaker, just like the enlightening words, there's like these affirmations and like these kind of moments that they have, and that they kind of hit you with like a bolt of lightning almost, where you're just like, oh, I've never heard that phrase before, or heard it in that kind of time frame. So that was really nice to hear. And you can tell he's extremely genuine and real, and puts his all into the job that he does, because he's extremely well knowledge in how to make these impacts on these children, being an educator and a teacher. So that was fantastic to have. So we appreciate him being on the show.
Absolutely. And anyone who takes the time to use social media to generate positivity should be recognized, because nowadays we all know that people kind of really blow up on Instagram more so for negativity than for positivity. Like that's what's in style right now. Like the most outrageous things, the most violent things go viral all the time. But when a person is actually saying things that are good, like that should go viral more often. You know what I'm saying? Than like the nonsense.
That's very true. You're right. And you'll be like, you'll see these posts, instead of posting all about this, why don't you post this? Or like, why don't you guys mention this? Like all the good stuff. So that is true. Negativity always has a larger impact, but we need to start focusing more on what's really there are negative things happening, but we also need to focus on the positive things. And we should start absorbing more positivity too. Right? Because that negativity that you kind of see constantly in your timeline surrounding you and things like that can have a major impact on your daily and everyday life, because all you keep sucking in or like intaking is all that negativity. That's why sometimes even taking a break from social media, it's a positive as well. So that's very insightful though.
Yes, very cool. And of course, without further ado, for those of you who love our recommendations of the week, we're going to go ahead and have Marley start off with her recommendation for this episode.
So my recommendation, I think our recommendations are always going to have Netflix in it. Your girl don't got regular cable. And so Netflix is the search bar at all times.
You're speaking like a true, like you're acting your age. Yeah. Like 100%, like 100%.
Yeah. Well, I got cable, but I got somebody else's cable. That's another story.
Yeah.
We'll go there later. But this weekend, I spent some time watching a recommended show from Netflix. They give you the whole bar. It's called Dating Around. Have you seen this?
No, tell me about it.
Oh, man. Oh, I can't even, it's so fascinating that you can really put yourself in these shoes of these people. So it's blind dates. One person goes on 4 or 5 blind dates. And they just follow them the whole time. And there's clips. They keep showing you clips and moments within this blind date. And people are very awkward when it comes to these situations. And then you try to put yourself in that situation, like, what would I do if this was me? the participant has to pick one person to go on a second date with. We don't get to see the second date, but we do get to see like after the dinner, no, pre-dinner, the dinner, and then the after hours kind of drink if who she or he goes on a drink with. Kind of like after hours, after dinner. So it's super cute. It's all out of New York City. So New York dating is way different because the characters themselves are just it's all characters. That's the word.
A little more outspoken, a little bit more comfortable with saying whatever they want.
Yeah, but everyone has personality. Everyone has these traits, characteristics, or those like all diverse and different. Amazingly hilarious and reminiscent of couple dates. So that kind of gives you also like, yo, I had that crazy person too before.
Yeah.
So there's really those moments. So I would suggest everyone check out Dating Around, especially if you're like in the dating world. This will make you feel like, oh, I'm gonna stop talking so often when I'm on these dates because I look like that girl. I look like her.
It's funny how when you put the camera on a person who is not thinking they're being filmed, and then you realize the behaviors, and you're like, yeah, that was wild. You shouldn't have said that. You know what I mean? Like,
but I think in some of these cases, I think they knew that. I don't know if I think they knew the cameras were there. They got them in more of the part where they're super comfortable.
Right.
Like when I say some girls are, I'm sorry, ladies. I know we get comfortable. We have our moments, but some of y'all get too comfortable. Like you have to watch it. And the guys are cute. Like, and there's a mix of different variations of couples. There's an older man. He's like in his late 60s, almost. Yeah, his wife had just passed. So you get very emotional when he starts talking about her, and he's like, he used to be like a New Yorker kind of like punk rocker hitting the scene. So it's like you can see that in him, and you know that the women he's on these date with are like eclectic, just like him, and they're older. So you'll be like, oh, that's so reminiscent. You think about what their life was like in those 80s and those 90s. They were out there, or 70s. So it's a great show. Very short and sweet.
I think I might check it out.
You can binge it in the day, less than the day. They're like very short and sweet, so very nice. So I'd check it out.
Shout out to Netflix. You guys need to sponsor us because we are definitely plugging you guys heavy. Okay. And we don't split the account, by the way.
No.
So these are two accounts. So unlike the rest of the world, you know what I'm saying? We are not sharing this account. This is two separate accounts. So my recommendation, I'm going to keep it pretty simple for those of you who are suffering hair loss and who have thinning hair. Men, this is for you as well, because we know you have men listeners, and it's very difficult when you're going through that stage that you're like, oh my God, I am going bald and I am only 31 years old. Like, I understand. I get it. It's pretty scary. So through research and understanding, according to some YouTube videos, if you blend onions, red onions, and use it like in its liquid form and let it sit, and then put the raw onion on your scalp, and do that, I think, a couple of times a week. I'm not sure, just YouTube it. That actually helps your hair follicles from stopping to fall out, and it'll make your hair roots stronger. So another thing that I saw, there was this girl from India that was discussing how she lives by this. And she also puts castor oil with the onions together. And as we all know, if you get your eyebrows threaded, all they say is put castor oil on your eyebrows so your eyebrows can come back. Haven't done it yet, but I'm just saying, they keep saying that it's great. And you listen to the experts. And to me, I feel like the Indian culture got the hair game on lock. Oh, yeah. They have so much hair, so thick, so beautiful, so healthy. So it's like, you got to listen to people that show and prove that they have great hair. So for those of you who are having thinning problems, or you see that your hair is not the way you used to, or you used to diet like crazy, so now you don't have as much hair as you used to, if you put this raw substance on your scalp and let it can actually help replenish your hair. So I just want to give that tip. I personally haven't done it, but I thought I would share because I know a lot of people who are experiencing that. And another fun tip for anyone who's trying to get their hair back and get it thicker. Unfortunately, a lot of people may not like this. You have to stop putting heat to your hair because it destroys your hair. And it's no secret. And one of these days, I'm going to put a before and after of my hair before I went natural so that once you see the pictures, like Marley, I promise you, I saw a picture and I was like, wow, it was worth it. Like, cause it was just like straight, not ugly, not real curls. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, yes, mine is just a way to kind of bring back what you've been losing, which is your hair.
So you should do a YouTube or an Instagram TV of you putting these raw onions in your hair. Because this has me, so I love castor oil. I think I do a hot treatment with castor oil at least once a week. Dominican thing. My mom set me up that way in my life to do these things. Mm-hmm. But I'm nervous about red onion. So I might give it a try on a long weekend.
I mean, people put mayonnaise in their hair. People put avocados and eggs, and like these products help you because it helps when you have dry scalp. Like it helps with that. You know what I mean? Like, guys, by the way, don't do the mayo or the avocado if you have a greasy head, you know, because that's super oily. Like you have to know what your situation is. For yours. Yeah. Even though I heard that if you put sea salt in your head, it kills the dandruff.
I need to know where you be hearing things. These tips would have been great, helpful a while ago. But I'll probably give it a try too with the red onion. I love that idea. I mean, not the smell is what makes me nervous.
I get it.
If anything. So that's an interesting tip. New tips of the week or recommendations of the week.
And home remedies sometimes are the way to go, guys.
For sure. That is for sure. Well, that has been another episode of Fresh Mondays. We give amazing tips to risk in your hair and also while watching a dating show. So you can let it sit while watching a great dating show on Netflix.
There you go. With your single ass. Okay. Smelling like onions in the house. You know what I'm saying?
And that's why you're single. You see? Smelling like onions and castor oil. That's why your ass is single at home, watching other people date. Let me stop talking about myself. Let me stop.
That's hilarious. So for those of you in the local South Florida area, April the 6th, it starts with the vision. The second edition is taking place. This specific vision board party / create a blueprint for financial success is going to be taking place in Wynwood on April the 6th. Get your tickets on Eventbrite. It's called It Starts with a Vision, and then in quotations is going to present whatever. What I'm stating and what I'm creating now is a series of different events where you can learn and empower yourself, and we're going to keep them going. This was literally created because of the demand. So many people said that they wanted to continue doing things and continue making other ways to visualize their success. So let's go ahead and ride with it. Thank you for everyone supporting thus far. Make sure to contact me at I am Diana C as in cat _. I apologize. And also make sure to check out my business page at Show Me Productions on Instagram as well as Facebook, and you'll see additional information regarding this specific event and other events to come.
Thank you guys for listening again. Don't forget to follow me at Love Marley _ that is on Twitter and as well as on Instagram. You can follow Fresh Mondays Podcast at Fresh Mondays Podcast on Instagram, and as well as you can email us at freshmondayspodcast@gmail.com.
Yes, thank you so much for supporting. Please make sure to share, repost, and let everybody know about the podcast. If you guys like what JR Rivera had to say, make sure to contact him. If you guys like what we have to say, make sure to contact us. With that being said, episode 60 is on and popping, and we're going to have many more episodes to come.
Have a good one.